UFC 321 ended in the most anticlimactic way possible. It couldn't have been any worse, honestly speaking. It ended in an eye poke, okay? Look, this is obviously not the first time that a fight is ending in an eye poke. This is a big issue that has been happening in the UFC time and time and time again. So it's not the first. But this was for the undisputed heavyweight championship. Finally, we got to imagine a situation where Tom Aspinall will finally fight for the belt in a legit way. No John Jones ducking, no interim champ, nothing. But of course, this fight still ended in a big disappointment. A lot of people calling Tom Aspinall a quitter. I don't necessarily agree, but I can understand why people say that. And it's one thing for fans to complain. It's another thing for people who call themselves so-called fight analysts to give the most brain-dead, idiotic take ever. And I'm talking about Chael Sonnen and Anthony Smith. In this video, we're going to quickly go over what happened in that fight and how it led to the eye poke. We're going to go over one of the most stupid things I've ever heard in my entire life. I'm not even exaggerating. We're going to go over Chael Sonnen and Anthony Smith's reaction to what happened. Before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, as we do breakdowns like this every single week. The fight was already interesting in the first round. Gane was looking slick as usual and stopped Tom's takedowns, and that was honestly very impressive to me. He has improved in his takedown defense. Both guys had good moments in the fight. It wasn't one-sided, honestly. This was actually a high technical fight, which is what makes it more disappointing. We haven't seen that in the heavyweight division in a while. All right. It was a close round while it lasted, but I think Gane was winning in my opinion. I think he was edging out that win in the first round at least. He landed so many jabs, busted up Tom's nose, but Aspinall had good moments as well, but he's always had issues with his defense, always holding his head high. So Gane's game plan was working very effectively. But then a few minutes later, Cyril Gane tried to throw a jab. Tom Aspinall threw an inside leg kick, and Gane went out of balance and double eye poked Tom. I mean, his fingers went right in there. It was a brutal eye poke. It really was. And that's why I'm like, okay, I understand it's disappointing. I understand it's anticlimactic. I understand we wanted to see Tom Aspinall either defend or lose, see Tom Aspinall get tested, all that good stuff. But the eye poke was pretty bad. Now, the criticism is, did Tom Aspinall quit? Did he just say, nah, this fight wasn't going my way. I don't want any part of it, so I'm just gonna take this out. I mean, it's fair to say that, right? You can say that about anything, but one thing you can't say is the eye poke wasn't bad. With that being said, let's go ahead and look at what the professional analysts Chael Sonnen and Anthony Smith have to say about this.
Being poked in the eye is illegal, Brendan, but to fight with one eye is very common.
Chael Sonnen says being poked in the eye is illegal, but to fight with one eye is very common. I mean, like, so what? So what? Okay, Michael Bisping, fought with one eye for a while. Tough guy, good stuff. He became champion, all that good stuff. Yeah, once in a while, fighters get into exchanges and then they fight with a compromised eye. I guess they do that, but what does that do for you? Like, this professional analyst is pretty much saying Tom Aspinall should have fought with one eye, right? For our entertainment. Like, toughen up, It's not a big deal. It's just an eye, You could replace your eye, right? It's not like it's the most sensitive part of your body or anything. Like, come on, it's just an eye. Fight with one eye. But let's keep going. Let me not get ahead of myself.
Trying to hit your eyes, trying to bust up and make your nose bleed. So that part of it does have question for guys like Anthony and I. We're trying to be polite, we're trying to show grace, but in all fairness, if you're the heavyweight champion of the world, you got to fight with one eye at times.
If you're the heavyweight champion of the world, you got to fight with one eye sometimes. Someone should put that on a t-shirt. Coach Chael Sonnen. Do not act like I don't understand his sentiment. I understand what the mindset he's saying. You gotta be tough. You're fighting for a belt, championship mindset. But he's not fighting to try to get the belt. Tom Aspinall already has the belt. Why on earth would it make sense to fight with one eye and then possibly lose the belt? It's one, it would be different if Cyril Gane was the one who got eye pokes, right? And he's just trying to tough it out. Like, this is his last chance fighting for this belt. He's not going to get this opportunity anymore. His only time to become undisputed champion. So, fight with one eye. If I win, I win. If I lose, hey, at least I tried. But Tom Aspinall is already the champion. First of all, it's a stupid ass advice because that's not a good thing to do long term. You can ask Michael Bisping, fighting with one eye. If you get poked in the eye and you're compromised, yo, I'm sorry everybody. I know it's disappointing, but we'll fight another day. Tom Aspinall needs to do is have a fantastic performance and everybody will move on from this. It's not worth trying to tough it out with an eye. An eye is too sensitive. And honestly speaking, I think this is one of the dumbest things that Chael Sonnen has said.
You were calling it, Chael, minutes before the fight stopped. You said he's already made his decision. This fight's not continuing. And a few minutes later, you're proven right. What did you see during the stoppage that had you so convicted that it was going to be over?
I'm just saying, when the opportunity came to take a little bit of a break, you can use that and you can even game that system to catch your wind. But there was something about the way that the story was being told, the way that it was being held on the eye and never removed. I mean, don't forget, this cloth that he had in his eye contained an ice cube. This wasn't some kind of a magic cloth that was going to cure a cornea or something that was wrong with your eye or even take swelling away. It contained an ice cube. Right. And it was just being held on there oddly. Then there was conversations that were taking place. There was a story that was being told.
Like, one eye was scraped. That was bad. The other one was all the way in his eye. The story that was being told was the reality of the situation. I like how he's making it seem like he saw something nobody else saw. Like, after maybe the first minute, I kind of knew this fight was going to be over because it was a bad eye poke, right? And it looked like Tom Aspinall couldn't see at least out of one eye. But Chael Sonnen is trying to frame this like the story that was being told. I don't even understand what that means. The reality is the story. All right, so you can see right here, the left eye is already bad enough, right? Trust me, the scrape is bad. But take a look at the other finger. It's going to go all the way inside.
Which can be worse at times. We've seen fights end due to an innocent looking.
So you see this image right here, right? You can see that in Cyril Gane's first finger, you cannot even see the top of his finger. That's because it's all the way inside Tom Aspinall's eye. Okay, now it's fair to say, hey, he was holding the cloud over the other eye, but you can also see that one is, it's pretty much a double eye poke. That one is scraping his eye. But I really do not understand how people see this transition, because I know people saw this. You see this and still call him a quitter.
Well, don't be mad at me. You had a job to do, and you, for whatever reason, you guys did whatever you did, and you didn't do your job. I'm not saying it's Tom's fault, and I'm not gonna, pretend that I know how bad it is or isn't. I think Chael made a poetic point that you have to be used to or willing to fight with one eye. I did it in Singapore.
And how did that play out for you, Anthony Smith? All right, how did that play out for you? I just think it's crazy that of all people, Anthony Smith thinks he can criticize someone. I mean, who does this guy think he is? Who does Chael Sonnen think he is? Tom Aspinall had, and I'm not even a, Tom Aspinall fanboy or anything like that. Trust me, all right? But this man has kind of sort of achieved more than these guys as fighters. And if Anthony Smith was a smart person and took the foul that John Jones, when John Jones had the illegal knee and Anthony Smith wanted to tough it out and take it, if he didn't do that, he would have at least be a, former light heavyweight champion. How did that play out for you in your career, Anthony Smith, Mr. Don't Quit? Mr. Not knowing when to stop, right? How did that play out for you? I don't think it played out well. I don't think you had a good ending in your career. In fact, it was kind of Anthony Smith is known as one of the most delusional fighters who did not even realize he was past his prime and calling out people like Alex Pereira. But now he's telling Tom Aspinall, hey, man, don't be mad at me. You said you were going to do a job and you didn't do it. I'm not saying it's your fault, but at the same time, I'm saying it's your fault. You know, tough it out. I agree with Chael Sonnen. Fight with one eye. I mean, it's ridiculous. These guys are sitting here suited up, supposed to be professional analysts, and the only thing they could come up with is Tom Aspinall should have fought with one eye. The fact that their take is even dumber than fans, even though I don't agree with the people who say Tom Aspinall quit, right? At least if you have that opinion, you don't believe the eye poke was that bad. And that's fair because sometimes an eye poke looks bad, but it's not really bad. And you see a fighter keep fighting, right? You're like, I thought that was a bad eye poke, but they keep going. Sometimes it doesn't look that bad and it's actually horrendous. So you never know. But it's one thing to say, okay, I acknowledge the eye poke. I acknowledge it was a bad eye poke, but you should have fought with one eye. I mean, I'm not trying to roast them. I'm not trying to be insulting, but it's just, it's idiotic. I don't know what other word to use.
Everyone talks about it all the time where the ladies waving stuff in front of my eyes. I can't see it. So what do? I just walk away and say, let's fight. You just like you either want to or you don't.
Well, that's the difference between someone like you, Anthony Smith, and someone with a championship mentality. How is that even? I don't understand how these guys think that's some type of good advice for a fighter. Like, hey, if you get poked in the eye, you can't see, go out there and get your ass beat. All right. Don't quit no matter what. Doesn't matter. Even if you're old, even if you're past your prime, keep fighting until your body just tells you it can't do it anymore. That's pretty much what they're saying, right? That is their take from this whole thing. Fight with one eye.
And my fight wasn't for a world title. I didn't have Cyril Gane in front of me throwing bombs. But the second that there was an issue, I knew that I wanted to continue, so I know what to say. You never say I can't see if you want to continue to fight. So when they ask the question, you just nod your head and you just walk away. Like you find a way to get away from the doctor. If you want to fight, you can fight.
I mean, it's just stupid in my opinion. Like that was not, he just said a bunch of nothing. Just fight even if you can't see. Like there's no fighting even if you can't see. You're getting beat. You're getting your ass whooped and you could have severe injuries after that. And you would think someone who made that type of stupid mistake would advise people not to do that. But it's so fascinating to see that it's the exact opposite for someone like Anthony Smith.
He said, I got poked in the eye, I can't see. If you got poked in the eye and you're injured, we have a totally different conversation. If you get poked in the eye and you can't see, generally in our sport, that's just something you've got to push through.
This man said if you're poked in the eye and you get injured, that's a different thing. But if you get poked in the eye and you can't see, then, you got to tough it out. How the hell is Tom Aspinall supposed to know if he's injured or not in the octagon? Right? How? Chael Sonnen. Did he have a test? He hasn't even waited. Like, this is something you can say maybe like next month when we see, okay, he wasn't injured, nothing like that. In fact, no, never mind. That was such a stupid thing to say. How is he supposed to know if he's injured? Isn't not seeing out of your eye a potential symptom that you're injured? I'm so confused. I'm so confused. It's like saying two things at the same time that doesn't make any sense. It's fair to say, okay, right away, Tom Aspinall said he couldn't see, and it seemed like he wasn't even trying to take the 5 minutes to try and recover, which is why some people are saying he wanted a way out because the fight wasn't going his way. All right. At the end of the day, like I said, nobody knows how bad an eye poke is except the fighter himself. Look, in my opinion, if you ask me, I think it was smart for Tom Aspinall not to continue the fight. He was highly compromised after that eye poke. Even if he decided to tough it out, even if he could see, he was definitely compromised, and there's no way he would have been fighting 100%. And also, I don't think that fight was going his way. It really wasn't. It didn't look like it was going his way. Tom is a first round fighter, and I always said if Gane can stop those takedowns and keep his distance, which is what he's good at, then he wins. I always said Cyril Gane is a better striker, and he looked like he was. Anyways, the rematch will be made for sure. I think Dana White already confirmed it. And honestly, I think people will be way more hype for the rematch. It's going to be way more interesting. I think it's going to have a storyline behind it, and it's probably going to sell more. Honestly speaking, the odds will be closer than the first fight, especially seeing how the first round was playing out. And Cyril Gane will have his 4th undisputed heavyweight fight. He's still yet to win one of those, but I guess we'll see. But anyways, let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think the eye poke was really that bad and you don't blame Tom Aspinall, or do you think he just quit? Let me know. Let me know if you agree with Chael Sonnen and Anthony Smith. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I'll see you guys on the next one.